All right, guys, injuries. We got Alexander limited, Ford limited, Person limited, and Street limited. Go ahead.
Jacoski turn is full.
Yes, he's full go.
What about activating Alexander? Is that going to happen this week?
He's got a good chance.
What has changed from the standpoint of the timing to have him in this position where he could possibly play on Sunday?
I was told long ago that maybe there's an outside chance he could be ready for the championship game, so that's what I've gone with in my mind. Quan's been trying to get back since the day after it was hurt, so he's been trying to prove us wrong on that, and he's more ahead of schedule now than a week ahead of schedule than we anticipated. He's been cleared by the medical staff, and now it's just about how he looks out on the field and things like that. And we'll have a padded practice tomorrow that'll help give us a little bit better idea.
So in other words, it's now a coaching decision?
Now it's a coaching decision, yes.
He does come back. Does he go right back to weak side, or do you ease him in some way into the mix?
Probably won't decide that till kickoff.
What's his greatest impact in this particular matchup? What would his greatest impact be?
Quan's a very good linebacker. He runs and hits. He's smart in our defense. The energy you guys see him walk around and live his life by is the energy that he brings on the football field too. So our team loves him. We're fired up when he's out there, and he's a good player also.
Your admiration for Kirk Cousins has been well documented, but why did you guys click in those 2 years in Washington? What about him as a young player made such an impression on you?
Just how efficient he was coming out of college, just watching him on film, and then being with him for 4 years, knowing how talented he was as a thrower, but being with him for 4 years, just his mind and how he worked at it, and how he understood everything that was happening, whether it was good or bad, which when you're like that, you know that they can learn from things.
What's the most outstanding thing about his development since you've left?
I think he's been the same. I think he's always just steadily climbed each opportunity. Every time he's gotten more opportunities, he's only gotten better. I know when he's had bad games, he's always learned from them and come back and respond. So I think he's just been given the right opportunity. Whenever he has been given the right opportunity, I think he's shown people he's one of the better quarterbacks in this league.
You said last week you're optimistic about Tart and D Ford. Do you still have that optimism for D?
I do, yes.
How are you going to look at the cornerback position, Kyle? Are you going to evaluate with Witherspoon and Mosley kind of back and forth the next couple of days?
I've got a pretty good idea which way we're leaning towards, but it's not a big difference to me. I know it is to them because I know both of them want to get out there so bad. I think we got two guys that I feel very confident both of them helping us win, and whoever starts, it'll be based off of who we think gives us the best chance on Sunday.
Having won in New Orleans last month, you have an understanding of what type of confidence that can give a team. How much confidence did that give you guys, and how much confidence are you expecting the Vikings to maybe have gained from that?
I think it gives you, anytime you beat a good team, it gives you a lot of confidence, and especially when you do it in a tough place like down there. But I thought it gave us a lot of confidence for whatever that means, but we came back and lost the next week, so I don't know what that means. So what it means is how good we play on Saturday and how good they play on Saturday.
Kyle, George and other players talk about Jimmy's leadership. Now, we don't always see it, don't see him barking everyone. What do you think his style of leadership is? What kind of leader do you think he is?
I think he's a very good leader because he's himself and people respect how he plays. Jimmy doesn't change, whether he's doing really good or really bad, or whether he has a bad day or a good day. He's going to treat everyone the same. He's always the same guy, the same friend, the same teammate. He works the same regardless. And I think just the way he talks to guys, he doesn't sit there and talk down to people. That's not really his style to ride people. But he also has a way of holding people accountable by being himself too. And that stuff only works if you work and they respect how you play. And Jimmy has earned that respect how he's played. He's earned it how he's worked. And I think the guys really appreciate him as a man.
Kyle, when you're facing a quarterback
on your career, and also what influence have you seen on the Vikings?
Sorry, we said beginning of that.
Gary Kubiak, what kind of influence has he had on your career, and also what influence have you seen him have on the Vikings this year?
Gary's been huge on my career. I think everyone knows how long he was with my dad. I knew Gary when I was younger, being a ball boy, which probably wasn't a good first impression for myself to him. But Gary, I started in the NFL out of college with John Gruden, and then I went to Gary. He gave me my first position job as a receiver coach, and then the first coordinator job 2 years later. And Gary was awesome because you're always a product of your environment. I always loved Gary as a human and a person, which he's off the charts with. That's why players love him. That's why coaches love him. It was great for my football acumen just to go there, especially following Tampa. I mean, it was two extremes, being with someone like John Gruden, who does every play known to man, and you have so much scheme, which was awesome. And then you learn it all. And then you went to Gary, who believed less is more, and not having as much. And you come from one extreme and that's all you know, and then you go to the other and it's totally different. You're like, well, that can't work because this is what I know. And then you start to realize the pluses and minuses of both, and that helps you develop your own opinion on what it is. But the two people I started out with were both two very good offensive coaches who were completely different, which I think really helped me.
How about what he's done for the Vikings? Have you seen his influence or anybody watching?
Yeah, you can see it all over. I mean, the run game, the pass game, the style of how they call it down and distance-wise, it's extremely similar.
Lakin Tomlinson is, seems to be a very unsung guy. Not much is not really discussed or written about. Two things with him. Has he exceeded your expectations since you've got him in a trade? And then personality-wise, how would you describe him off the field?
I mean, we were big fans of Lakin coming out of college, and he was in a situation in Detroit where he didn't get to play a ton. Didn't always feel like he was it fit him the best. So you never know until you get someone, and we felt very fortunate with being able to get a talented guy like Lakin when we did. I think it was a 6th-round pick at the end of training camp. And he came in and played well for us his first year. I thought he played even better last year. So I'm not surprised by how he's playing this year because he works at it. He has the ability to do it, and therefore he keeps getting better. And Lakin is a very smart guy. He's very by the book. He's going to do everything you ask. He's going to work on it, not make mistakes, and he's a real good guy.
Now, along the lines of what you're saying about what a small community it is and how things can overlap, when you're facing a player that you've coached before, is that stuff overrated, or are there like quirky, really things that you know that person does, or you watch them evolve over a different period of time since you've had that person?
I think it's overrated. It's not overrated if the guy doesn't have much tape out on him, because everyone's just trying to guess, and you can talk a lot better than people would just guess. But I mean, Kirk has so much tape on him. I haven't been with Kirk. I mean, people don't get. I only coached Kirk for like 3 games. I mean, I was with him for 2 years, but other guys were playing. So, but it's also I'm not sitting there going against Kirk. So I think that stuff's totally overrated. He's been a lot of places. He can do a lot of things that I don't know about, and that'll be between Saul and our defense trying to stop him.
Their safety tandem so good.
Well, the scheme they play in is very good. It puts a lot of pressure on them, but allows them to make a lot of plays too. Harrison has been there for a while, and then 41. I did not see him the last time, but he's come in and been very impressive. I mean, he's got the ball skills. They both run and hit. They got very sound coverages with linebackers underneath and stuff. So there's not always a ton of pressure on them. That allows them to just run, make plays in the run game by being physical, and allows them to be some ball hawks too.
How much did Robert consult with you as far as budgeting his time last week with the interview, and how did you think that he handled that situation with the Browns?
I mean, Saul was fine. We had time off, so I mean, it just works out. It was great getting the bye week, so it wasn't an issue at all. When all of us had a couple off days to rest with our family, Saul was in here working for an interview. But I mean, you'd have to ask them, but I'm pretty confident how Saul did. Saul is well prepared for that type of stuff. He's unbelievably impressive when if anyone sits down and interviews him, just like he was when I did. So if that's what they're looking for, I know that they were going to be pumped with what they saw.
Go down memory lane a bit. It's 1994. You're 49ers ball boy, a freshman at Saratoga High School. What do you remember about that time in your life and that season at Saratoga?
I remember people making fun of me because I got Deion Sanders' throwback jersey for Christmas, and I didn't take it off till the day after the Super Bowl. My dad became the Broncos head coach, so I wore it for about how many ever days that is, a month and 10 days. I changed my undershirt, though, I promise. No, but I remember I was dedicated to I felt like I couldn't do school for that month because I had to get a good night's sleep to get ready for the games and things like that. I was just so 100% the Niners in the playoffs at that time. I can remember like it was yesterday, and it's funny to watch my wife be like that kind of right now, and my kids are getting there, not as old as I was, but they're getting close.
With all the passing stats and analytics that are available, what are the ones that matter to you, and the ones that you look at Jimmy's season and say, this is why he's having a good year?
I'd probably embarrass myself if I sat up here and talked too much stats, because I guarantee you guys know him better than me. I just watch every play, and I kind of just have a pretty good feel on whether he's playing good or not. But I think one of the biggest things in all of football is third down. There's not much you can do on third down. There is stuff you can do as scheming and everything, but not if you don't have a really good quarterback. And I think that's always a pretty apparent stat to me. That's not foolproof. There's been lots of really good quarterbacks who their team hasn't been good on third down, but I think you just look at both teams. We're both very committed to running the ball, but you look at third down. If you take out all runs on third down, we're number 1 in the league, and Minnesota's number 2. So you got 2 teams who run the ball, but that also shows you got 2 quarterbacks.
Raheem Mostert is a self-described beach bum. I'm wondering if you're surprised by that, given the way he plays, the intensity he plays with on special teams, and with the way he runs the ball, kind of balancing, I guess, his personality.
If I just saw him on the football field, I would be surprised, because you just don't think of many running backs as being big surfers. But I'm with him every day, and I get to talk to him and stuff, so it doesn't surprise me at all the way he talks and just hanging out with him. He's from Florida, which surprises me, because usually the surfers I feel like are from California, but I know there's some waves down there too. But I think it's been cool. He got a Billabong sponsorship a couple months ago, so he's enjoying it, and it's probably my favorite dance he does too.
Kyle, knowing how well they play against the run, what are some of the keys you guys have to do? Is it a matter of just sustaining the run game, like committing to it, or is there certain things you have to do because they're so strong up front?
No, it's a little bit of everything. Everybody wants to commit to the run and stuff, but committing to the run isn't just committing to the run. Players laugh at me a lot because I always say, do you guys want to run the ball? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, you better be able to throw it then. Or if we want to throw it, you better be able to run it. You don't just run the ball and get 40 runs by just calling run, pass, because then you're going to be in some 3rd and 8s, and you're not going to do that good on 3rd and 8. You have to mix it up. You got to do things. How does the defense play? How good do you do on 3rd down? Are we getting some explosive runs? Because eventually, if you just get 5 yards here and there every time, that's great, but are you going to get points? So all that stuff goes into it. So you can't give a good answer for that, because there's variables of the entire game that usually leads to who has the most run carries, and usually the team who has the most run carries wins. So you try to get the most run carries, but the answer isn't just calling run every play.
Two more, please. What progress have you seen Deebo Samuel make over the course of his rookie season, and has his sort of added experience toward the end of the year allowed you to do more with him in the offense?
Yes, Deebo's allowed us to do more and more each week. Just going through the whole year, always, receivers, the style of the game in college, there's not as much man-to-man. It's a lot more fast tempo. There's huge zones with where the hashes are, so it's very hard to get good at route running, and especially when you got some of these guys who are pretty talented with the ball in their hands. Working on the routes so much in college is kind of a waste of time. They're just going against zone, just get them open in the zone and have them run. It's almost like a fast break basketball. So when you do get that, guys are sloppy a little bit on their routes, which Deebo was because he didn't have much experience. But for him to play all year like that and to get better each week, even battling through some injuries, it's been great. It says a lot about him as a man, but that's where he's improved the most.
Sauer's commercial never started a playoff game. Garoppolo's never started a playoff game. What will determine his success or failure in that new environment?
How good he plays and how good everyone plays around him. That stuff's so funny to me because he could play great, and we might come up short, and I don't want people to say he can't win a playoff game. I felt like last week was a playoff game. That was pretty intense, or whenever we played Seattle. So I think he's shown that he can handle himself and poise. He's played some really good games, and just like everybody, hopefully he does it this Saturday, which will be his first playoff game. But I think Jimmy's played in some pretty big games, and anyone who's around him in those games and talks to him and stuff, it's not much different in those games with him as a preseason game. He stays the same.
Interview process. You went through the interview process, obviously.
You won that. You were the most aggressive.
You went, coming here, you were in the playoffs. There's obviously some inherent disadvantages to your team continuing to win for some coaches, advantages for others, some inherent distractions. How do you feel about the whole process overall? Is there a better way?
What you're talking about with having a bye week and stuff?
Yeah, just the whole, having to wait until your team is eliminated to get hired.
Oh, that part. Yeah, I think it's tough. I don't necessarily have a better way. I mean, I think it's real tough. I mean, there's so much turnover, and this is the time for jobs for a lot of people in this league, and but it's not for how many teams are left, whatever it is. Those people can't do much about that. So I think it's less on the head coach. I think it's more on all the position coaches who are sitting and waiting. I mean, usually the guy who's going to become the head coach and stuff, it's going to be all right. But it's kind of tough when you have all the other guys on the staff and their families who are kind of in limbo. Should they be looking hard for another job or waiting? And I think that's really the toughest thing.
Is it feasible to wait till after the Super